When I tell people that addiction is all about trying to manage emotions and we're reaching into our addiction because we're uncomfortable, sometimes the answer I get back is, yeah, but what if I'm not just trying to manage an emotion? What if I'm not uncomfortable and I'm still moving into it? Well, there's a couple things I'll say to that. One, if you're happy, do you know how to keep that feeling? For me, when I was in my addiction, especially, even when I felt happy, that did come with some anxiety and fear because I didn't know how to keep that feeling. So it made me a little bit uncomfortable as well because it was something that I was afraid that I could lose. But I also didn't really know how to process that emotion. So first of all, sometimes good feelings can even come with some anxiety. But the other thing that I will say is that when you are an addict, if you're in a place of you're using a compulsive behavior that you don't want to find yourself using and you don't like the way it's affecting your life, but there's still nothing you can do to stop it, I'm telling you that you have an underlying discomfort all the time. When I was in my addiction, I woke up and the first thing I was thinking about was one of two things. One, what did I do last night? Can I feel good about myself? Am I a good person? And two, how can I get more? How can I get more? How can I get more? That was just a buzzing dialogue in the back of my mind. I was always uncomfortable. I was always on edge. I was always looking for my addiction. I was always chronically and hyper aware of where can I get more. But also there was always this thing in my head that was always talking back to me about what I was doing in my addiction and what kind of a person that made me. Now, those things are always gave me this underlying experience of I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. And but there are other things even below that that created an experience of I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. Even before I was lost in the heat of my addiction, there were things that I thought and believed and ways that I viewed the world that gave me underlying discomfort. I looked at the world through a lens of anxiety. I didn't trust my circumstances. I was afraid. Even as a little kid, I was that kid who was afraid to close the door even when I was using the bathroom. I didn't want to be alone. I met life with already some underlying fear. And so I have to tell you that if you are like, I am going into my addiction and I have no idea how it relates to being afraid because I'm actually having a good day. I'm comfortable. Or I don't know how it relates to being mad. Like I've had no drama today. I've had no drama in the last week and I'm still reaching into my addiction. So I challenge this idea that I'm moving into addiction for emotional regulation. Okay, so let me ask you, um, have you considered taking medication for anxiety or depression? Are you currently taking medication for anxiety, depression? Are you seeing a counselor? Have you seen a counselor? Have you been to therapy? Have you thought about going to therapy to address some of these overarching things that are happening in your life that you don't know how to control? Is it possible that you have an underlying dialogue already of discomfort? Because if so, you're going to find yourself moving into an addiction. That's why addiction recovery will always come in two phases. One is going to take that deep clean of getting rid of the pain you've been collecting your whole life, but also being able to move into a place where you know how to do the work and you know how to do the emotional management to keep a clean house every day. Just like when you talk about that I like to use a hoarder analogy. If you're going to do an intervention for somebody who is a hoarder, the first thing you do is show up with a big box of black trash bags and you'd start cleaning. You start gathering garbage and getting rid of it. But then the hoarder is the one who's going to have to live in that house. So in order to keep a clean house, you also have to learn the skill of daily pickup. You have to have both. They go hand in hand. So yes, if you're moving into this idea that, oh, addiction recovery, oh, addiction is all about managing emotions and regulating myself, you have to look at it from both perspectives. Have you done the deep clean? Have you stood back and looked at the worldview you have that you started to craft and shape from a very young child? Have you done that? That's your deep clean. You got to go through. You've got to do that inventory. You have to look back and question the things you've never questioned before. But then also, yes, be mindful of how those emotions are coming into your life on a daily basis from the circumstances of today and how it's shaping your experience. Addiction recovery takes both. It takes the deep clean, it takes the daily maintenance cleanup. So if you're not doing both, if you haven't done both, then I encourage you to do it. If you want to know more about it, sign up for my newsletter. I will take you through the whole process. Thanks.